Hey guys, Sandra from Wani here with Mariusz of Riverside. How are you doing?
I'm really well, thank you so much.
So first of all, congratulations on the new album. I've been playing it on repeat.
Really?
I have, I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. How have the other fans that you've noticed, what's the reaction been so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
No, it's really nice reaction. Actually, I think that it's even the best reaction so far. It seems that people like the melodies, I think. Yeah. And we're really happy for the reaction, really, seriously.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
So listening to the album, I've noticed certain lyrical themes. Is there a story being told, especially, from lost to found?
Yeah, actually, yes. It's a story about I was trying to find myself on this album somehow. I hope I found myself. But mostly this is a story about, there are three the most important forces like love, fear, and attention that help you to make very important life-changing decisions. And usually it's something like this: when you want to change and when you want to make very important life-changing decisions, you've got lots of things in your head. And for instance, that you want to move from Canada to Poland. So there's some kind of excitement, freedom, so let's call it love. At the same, there's a fear of the unknown because you don't know what to expect, you don't know how people in Poland behave. And there's some experiences from the past and some imagination about the future, so I call it time machine. All these things are somewhere in your head and help you to make this life-changing decision. So basically, it's about that. But with a happy end at the end. So, because the last track is called Found, so I hope this is a happy end.
Well, speaking of happy endings, I've actually, as I go through your discography, and I've been this for a while, so this album I've noticed has a more optimistic feel.
Yeah.
I feel. So being the sixth album, how do you feel it differs from previous Riverside releases?
Well, yeah, exactly. This is the most optimistic and the most joyful, I would say, album. I remember at the beginning someone wanted me to describe our music, and I said joy, sadness, whisper, and scream. That was really cool, but I noticed that through all these albums we've got mostly like sadness, whisper, and scream. There was some problems with the joy. Of course, we've got the I Believe track, the first album, or Into Minds, maybe something on the Memories in My Head, but that's it. So I think there's more joy now on this album, a little bit. So all these four Riverside seasons are now on a maybe equal levels somehow when you take a look at the whole discography. I think this is the most bright album, I would say. More bright, something like that. Hopefully more optimistic. It doesn't mean that we just play, of course, happy songs now, right? But there's still lots of melancholy. But I think there's more light, definitely.
Okay. So, with each album and each tour, do you find it difficult to choose which songs make the set list?
Oh, so far we play mostly everything. I mean, we play like 4 tracks from the new album, so this is not like the new album tour only.
Right.
But we start with Lost and we finish with Found, so it's just like brackets, something like this. So, but for sure, thanks to new tracks, our shows can be much more dynamic. It used to be like we played like five tracks, and that's it, right? We had 90 minutes. So now we can choose a little bit shorter things and make our show more dynamic, and in the same way, I think more, a little bit cooler, a little bit than it was in the past.
Okay. What is your writing process like for a new album? Do you all sit together separately? Do you wait for inspiration to hit?
Well, okay, I'm the guy who's responsible for the most in our music, and I always start all these ideas. I have a theme, the leading concept of the album, and later I got the idea for our how we should use our instruments, in which style we should play a little bit. Then we start to do something together, and at the end I'm just writing the lyrics to the melodies that are already composed. And at the end, we try to record this. First, since the previous album, we started to record demo versions, which is quite good because I can see the album and I know what should I do more or what should I skip, what should I throw away. And this time I remember we did 8 tracks and something was wrong in the middle and something was wrong at the end. So I add the track Saturate Me and add the track Found. So I think now it's perfect balance.
Speaking of Saturate Me, that's my favorite song. My favorite song. So with odd time signatures, do you specifically sit down and say, okay, let's say I'm going to write a verse in 7/4, or does it just kind of flow and it happens?
Yeah. Mostly, I'm 7/4 mostly. In my head there's 7/4. All these tracks that we've got on each album, there's some 7/4. I don't know. I just like the flow of this metronome and this time signature really, very much. So it's just natural. I don't even know, to be honest, all these time signatures. I try to play what I like. This is what happened with the Escalator Shrine, for instance, and someone told me, oh man, this is like 11 and 10, right? I don't know. This is
Okay.
it goes like this mostly. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. At least it's not forced, because I've noticed with a lot of progressive bands, it's like they're trying to sit down and say, okay, this is going to be an 11.
Well, but we're not that kind of band. We are always.
I like the natural.
We always wanted to have mostly focus on the melodies and stuff. These time signature fun, it's just like the background. It's something like you add to the main core. So we're not this giant square fractal bands, unfortunately, with all this stuff. No offense, of course, but we try to be somewhere in the middle of let's say this cheesy prog rock, whatever it is, with a horrible keyboard sounds, and between all this new band fractal stuff. So mostly melodies are the most important things for me.
So as a vocalist, do you do anything to keep your voice in shape, especially on tour? No.
I try to survive. No, it's hard stuff, honestly. On this tour, I was struggling with American air condition because it always goes like all the time, so it's horrible. I've got my meds, I've got my drugs. I'm on drugs all the time, to be honest. So it goes like this. I try to avoid something. I can't drink the cold beer together with the guys after the show. So next day it's like problem.
Yeah.
Which I realized on this tour. but I'm trying. I'm trying to do it as much as I can to avoid all these problems.
Okay. Well, that's sacrifices for the music. People have to appreciate that.
Yeah, what are the rewards?
Okay.
Damn it.
Okay, well, since you are
This
obviously...
interview is my reward, by the way.
Since you are obviously a bass player as well as a singer, and you do a lot of acoustic guitar and stuff as well, is there something you feel more natural or open to experimentation with? Do you prefer one over the other?
Well, actually, I started with acoustic guitar mostly. I've got my phone, I've got my dictaphone with me. I had. This is weird. But anyway, there's always something like the dictaphone in there, and I can record. Here you go. And I can record something in here, and this is some kind of basic stuff that I always bring when we have our rehearsals. And I start with this one. To be honest, it doesn't matter. It always comes from the huge beginning is mostly under the shower or in very specific moments when I'm just starting to sing, just out loud, and I try to record that. So this is the beginning. And later it doesn't matter if I play bass guitar or acoustic guitar or keyboards or something else. Yeah. I try to remember this. This is the most important. Later it goes with the harmonies, but the melody is the most important.
Musically, who's your biggest influence, would you say?
Well, actually, I grew up on electronic instrumental music, so I was always screwed in here a little bit, talking about the long forms and more cinematic stuff, and so, this Jean-Michel Jarre, Vangelis, Tangerine Dream, Michael, that kind of stuff. I remember I was buying a lot of CDs of these things, these artists together with the death metal bands. Because when I was growing up in '80s in a small town in the north of Poland, I remember that every Tuesday we got a market and there was a guy with tape cassettes, and he had only electronic music and death metal. So these are my influences mostly.
Makes sense.
So yeah, Tangerine Dream, in the morning, I needed to put this obituary or death, a spiritual healing. That was really, really, really weird. Someone at school had fun with me because they said that I'm listening to milk with beer, something like this. So, but I like it. I like that kind of ranges stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good not to limit yourself.
Definitely, especially these days when you can hear everything. And,
Same.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So on to touring. Do you enjoy life on the road? Do you like touring?
Actually, this is my home. It's my hometown. every town is my hometown. Yeah, I'm enjoying a lot. Even more and more with each tour, because the audience is getting better and better. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we are better and better, but all these reactions and cooperation between the band and the audience is really amazing. We learn how to enjoy on the stage. So, well, this is my job, and I can't. It was in the past. I've got something like, I was tired. I felt tired on the stage, and I wanted to go back home. Finally, the bath, the bubbles, finally. But no, it shouldn't go that way. We are here to play for people, for the audience, and not only to record our albums in the studio, but also we need to play all these tracks live. And with each year, it's better and better. And this tour is specific because I think thanks to the shorter tracks and more dynamic shows, we've got much better interaction. So it's really good.
I was actually going to ask next about your reaction, the audience's reaction, like depending on where you go. From country to country, do you notice a difference in the audience at all?
I'm not saying this because I'm in Canada, but people in here are really spontaneous. And in Quebec City and Montreal, we've got an amazing response. We were very surprised. So far, we knew that people in Mexico are awesome and Chile are awesome because they are just react. It's all the time they're singing all these songs. This is not like people in Europe when let's say you play a show in Holland, for instance. We truly love Holland, but mostly it's like this. It's crazy. It's really great. In here people are like, whoa!
Yeah.
They're just doing some kind of stuff. So yeah, it's going better and better even in here. Really, we truly love this. Yeah, my friend told me once that when I asked him about the response, he told me, yeah, exactly. Chile, Mexico, and Canada. All these countries are the most. Speaking of Europe, I think that Spain and Portugal, people are always very enthusiastic. But to be honest, it doesn't matter. People in Germany and Holland are also enthusiastic.
People do tend to go nuts here. Yeah.
They're changing too. Maybe they're younger. Maybe that's why. 10 years ago, when we started our music, our adventure with playing live, there was a lot of adult, very mature bands. But now, I don't know, they died. But actually, there's much more, younger audience, which is cool.
Do you notice? I mean, a lot of bands when they get bigger, like they.
So I've heard about that kind of bands. Yeah.
No. I'm trying to phrase this properly. They at home, on home turf, they get a better reaction from the audience. Is there a big progressive scene in Poland, or not at all?
Well, there's a popular genre, I could say that, like progressive rock. People like that kind of music in Poland, but unfortunately there's lots of bands. It's lots of bands, but I think that there's more bands than the audience, And sometimes these bands playing for 100 people, this is the most. Riverside is some kind of exception because we play for more than 100. But there's a huge scene, Prog scene. I think there's a huge potential, and soon everyone probably will hear more about Polish Prog bands, not only about Riverside.
Well, finally, you're wrapping up the dates in North America for this tour, and then going for the next couple months to Europe, playing over there. Do you have any plans to continue the tour? I know a lot of the Metal Wani fans in India are hoping that you'll drop by.
Yes.
What's next?
After the tour? Well, that's the good question. I would like to go on a holiday for at least 1 week. But after this, probably we will continue our tour because there's lots of countries to play in, and we'll do this. And maybe I will start continue because I've got solo project with Lyrical, so probably I will start something like this. Maybe we'll start a new project with Michael and Peter based on the day-night session, some ambient stuff, and probably we'll start also the new Riverside somehow. I've got also a few solo projects that I would like to make a role, and so we will see. So far, there's lots of plans. But after the European tour, for sure, we would like to take a break, at least like 1 month, because it was a hard year.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking to me today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.